Alex had always considered himself a pretty good husband. He wasn't perfect, but he did his best. He helped around the house, listened when Emily talked about her day, and tried to show her love in little ways. They had been married for 5 years, and while things were good, he felt they had fallen into a comfortable routine. But Alex didn't know that Emily was about to change things up. One evening, after dinner, Emily sat down with a serious look on her face. She had been reading a book about relationships, and she had an idea that she was eager to try out. "Alex," she said, "I think we need a new way to make sure we're both happy in this marriage." Alex raised an eyebrow, unsure where this was going. "I'm going to start giving you a monthly performance review," she said. "It'll help me see how well you're doing as a husband, and it'll give you a chance to improve." Alex blinked, trying to understand what she meant. What?" he asked, half laughing. Emily smiled, but she was serious. She explained that she had come up with a list of areas where she felt their relationship could improve. Communication, affection, teamwork, and even things like doing chores around the house. Every month, they'd sit down, and she would grade him on how well he had done in those areas. Alex didn't know how to feel. On one hand, he thought it sounded kind of funny. On the other, he felt a little nervous. Was this really something that would help their marriage, or was it just a way for Emily to criticize him? Still, he agreed to try it, not wanting to upset her. What Alex didn't realize was that this performance review would change the way he saw their relationship, and possibly change the way they both looked at each other forever. The first review came quicker than Alex had expected. A whole month had passed since Emily had told him about her idea, and now it was time to sit down for his performance evaluation. Alex wasn't sure what to expect, but he couldn't help but feel nervous. He had done his best over the last month, trying to be more attentive, help out around the house, and make sure Emily felt appreciated. But was it enough? Emily sat across from him at the kitchen table, holding a clipboard. "Are you ready?" she asked, looking serious but also a little excited. Alex nodded, though he felt a tight knot in his stomach. Emily began reading through the categories one by one. "Okay, first, communication. How well do you think you've done in this area?" Alex thought about it for a moment. He had tried to listen more carefully when Emily talked about her work and the things that bothered her. He had made an effort not to interrupt her and to show interest. "I think I did okay," he said, unsure. "I've been trying to pay attention more." Emily nodded. "I agree that you've made some progress, but I still feel like sometimes you zone out when I talk, especially if I'm telling you about something that's not interesting to you. So, I'm giving you a B for communication." "8B?" Alex had hoped for an A, but he didn't argue. "Okay, fair enough," he said, trying to stay calm. Next, Emily moved on to affection. "How would you rate yourself on showing affection? You know, hugging, kissing, things like that?" Alex smiled. He was proud of how he'd stepped up here. He'd started kissing her goodbye every morning, and he'd planned a special evening to cuddle and watch a movie together. "I think I've done better here," he said confidently. Emily hesitated for a moment before speaking. "Well, you've definitely been more affectionate, but sometimes it feels forced, like you're just checking off a list. I'm giving you a C+ for affection." Alex was surprised. He thought he'd been doing well, but now it felt like nothing was enough. "C+? I thought I was doing better than that," he said, his voice a little defensive. Emily looked at him with a kind but firm expression. "I know you're trying, Alex, but sometimes it feels like you're doing these things just to get a good grade, not because you really want to connect with me." Alex took a deep breath. He hadn't expected this to be so emotional. "I did realize you felt that way," he said quietly. Emily's expression softened. "It's not that you don't care. It's just that I need to feel that connection, not just the actions." The next category was teamwork. How well Alex had been helping with chores and other household responsibilities. Alex was feeling a little more confident here. He'd been keeping up with the dishes, doing the laundry, and even vacuuming without being asked. "I've been trying to help out more," he said. Emily smiled. "You've definitely improved in this area, but there's still room for growth. Sometimes you do things halfway or forget to do something I asked. I'm giving you a B for teamwork." Alex nodded, feeling a little defeated but not ready to give up. "Okay, I'll keep working on it." Finally, Emily brought up intimacy. She was careful with her words, but Alex could tell this was the hardest topic for her. How would you rate yourself on intimacy? Not just physical intimacy, but emotional closeness too. Alex knew this was an area they both struggled with. They hadn't been as close as they once were. I know this has been tough, he said, looking down. I haven't been as open with you as I should be. Emily looked at him and nodded. I appreciate that you're aware of it, but I think there's still a lot we need to work on here. I'm giving you a C. A C? That hit harder than anything else. Alex felt a wave of frustration rise in him. A C? I've been trying so hard to be there for you. Emily reached across the table and took his hand. I know, Alex. I know, but I think we both need to be more honest with each other. It's not just about what you do. It's about how we're connecting on a deeper level. Alex took a moment to think about what she said. He had worked hard, but he realized he wasn't always giving her what she truly needed. Maybe he needed to stop focusing so much on checking boxes and start thinking about the bigger picture. Emily finished up the evaluation with a final note. I want you to know that this isn't about criticizing you. It's about helping us both grow. We're a team, and we'll get through this together. Alex nodded, still processing everything. The grades weren't great, but he could see where Emily was coming from. He wasn't perfect, but he was willing to work on it. After all, his marriage was worth it. The next month felt like a constant battle. Alex was determined to do better after his first performance review. He didn't want to disappoint Emily again, and he especially didn't want to feel like he was failing as a husband. Every day, he tried to be more thoughtful, more present, and more helpful. But even though he was putting in effort, things didn't always go as planned. At first, it seemed like his hard work was paying off. He made a list of things he needed to do to improve in each category. Better communication, more affection, more emotional connection, and being a more reliable partner in general. He started with the simple stuff. He made sure to ask Emily about her day every evening, even if he was tired after work. He noticed when she needed help with household chores and jumped in without waiting to be asked. He even planned a date night, a dinner at her favorite restaurant, followed by a walk in the park. Alex was proud of the effort he was putting in. He thought this time he'd definitely get higher grades. But as the days went on, he began to notice something strange. No matter how much he did, Emily always found something more to critique. He would wash the dishes, but Emily would mention that he didn't do a good enough job scrubbing the pots. He would try to have deep conversations with her, but sometimes Emily seemed distracted, or she would say he didn't give her enough emotional space. When he'd try to hug her, she would smile, but then there was this distance between them that he couldn't figure out. One evening, after a long day at work, Alex came home and made a point to ask Emily how her day went. He had noticed she seemed a little down, and he thought this would be a good chance to connect. But when he asked, she gave him a quick answer. Fine. She was clearly busy with something on her phone. Alex frowned. He had been trying so hard, and yet it felt like Emily wasn't really noticing. He felt frustrated. What am I missing? He thought. I've been making more of an effort. Why isn't she happy with me? Later that night, Emily told him she needed to talk. Alex immediately felt a wave of anxiety. He knew what was coming. It was review time again. This time, Alex went into the meeting with a mix of hope and dread. He had tried so hard to make improvements, but he still wasn't sure if it would be enough. Emily handed him the list of categories again, and they sat down to go through them. Okay, let's start with communication, Emily began. I know you've been trying, but sometimes I still feel like you're not really listening. You'll ask how my day was, but then you check your phone, or you seem distracted. That's not enough for me. Alex's stomach dropped. He thought he'd been doing well in this area. He had asked her how her day went almost every evening, but he hadn't realized that his half-hearted attention made her feel ignored. I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was doing that, he said, his voice low. I'll try to do better. Emily nodded. I know you're trying, but I need you to really listen, not just ask out of habit. Alex scribbled down a note to himself. He could see the truth in her words. He hadn't been giving her the full attention she deserved. Next came affection. Emily was a little softer in this category. You've definitely been more affectionate lately, and I appreciate it. But sometimes it still feels forced, like when you try to kiss me or hold my hand. I can tell you're just doing it because you think it's what I want, not because you really feel it." Alex's heart sank. He had been trying to be more physically affectionate, but hearing that it felt fake stung. "I didn't mean for it to feel that way," he said quietly. "I just wanted to make sure you knew I loved you." Emily smiled gently. "I know, but love isn't just about the actions, Alex. It's about the feeling behind them. I want to feel like you're truly present, not just going through the motions." Alex nodded, feeling guilty. He realized now that he had been so focused on ticking boxes, making sure he hugged her, kissed her, and complimented her, that he hadn't been paying attention to the emotional side of it. He needed to be more genuine in his affection, not just follow a checklist. The next category was teamwork. "You've been helping more around the house, and that's been great," Emily said. "But sometimes you don't finish what you start. You'll start cleaning, but then leave things half done, or you'll forget to pick up the dry cleaning like we talked about." Alex groaned inwardly. "I've been trying, Emily. I don't mean to forget things." "I know you don't mean to," she replied. "But when things are left undone, it stresses me out. It feels like I'm always the one picking up the slack." He took a deep breath. "I'll work on being more consistent. I don't want to leave you to do everything." Finally, Emily brought up intimacy. This was the hardest part. "We haven't been as close lately," she said softly. "Physically and emotionally. We've been in a routine, but we're not connecting like we used to." Alex felt a lump in his throat. He knew this was true, but he hadn't known how to fix it. "I know. I've been so focused on trying to do everything right in other areas that I've forgotten how important this is." Emily reached over and took his hand. "It's not just about doing things right, Alex. It's about feeling close to each other again. I want us to be open with each other, to feel that spark we used to have." Alex nodded slowly. "I'll work on it, Emily. I don't want to lose that." As the review ended, Alex felt a mix of disappointment and determination. He had tried hard, but he hadn't done enough. Emily wasn't asking for perfection. She was asking for connection. And that was something he hadn't truly understood until now. He knew he had a lot of work ahead of him, but he was ready to keep trying. His marriage was worth it. He would keep fighting for it, one small improvement at a time. Another month had passed, and Alex had made a lot of changes in his routine. He had been working harder to improve, but the pressure was starting to weigh on him. Every day, he reminded himself to pay more attention to Emily, to show her love, and to be a better partner. He had noticed some small improvements. He was more present when they talked. He didn't forget things as much, and he'd even started planning little surprises for her to show his affection. But he still wasn't sure if it was enough. Now, it was time for the second review. Emily sat down with the clipboard again, just like last time, and Alex sat across from her, his stomach in knots. He couldn't shake the feeling that no matter how hard he tried, it still wouldn't be enough for her. He had given so much effort, but there was always more to do. What if it's still not good enough? He wondered. Emily smiled at him, trying to make it feel a little less intense. "Are you ready for this?" she asked, her voice warm but serious. Alex nodded, forcing a smile. "I think so." "Okay," she began, flipping to the pages of her notes. "Let's start with communication. How do you think you've done this month?" Alex took a deep breath. He knew he had made a conscious effort to improve here. He'd been asking her more about her feelings, being more patient when she spoke, and focusing on her words instead of his own thoughts. "I think I've done better," he said cautiously. "I've been more mindful when we talk." Emily looked at him thoughtfully. "I can tell you've been trying. You're more present now, and I really appreciate that. But there are still moments when you're distracted, especially when you're watching TV or on your phone. It makes me feel like you're not fully there, even if you're physically with me." Alex winced. He hadn't realized how often he slipped into old habits. "I didn't mean to make you feel that way," he said, his voice soft. "I'll work harder to focus on you, no matter what we're doing." Emily smiled gently. "I know you will. For communication, I'm giving you a B+ this time. It's better, but there's still room to improve." Alex let out a breath of relief. B+ wasn't perfect, but it was better than the last review. Next, they moved on to affection. This time, Alex felt a little more confident. He'd been giving her more hugs, kisses, and even small compliments. He had tried to be more spontaneous in showing his love, instead of just going through the motions. How's affection been this month? Emily asked. Alex answered with a little more certainty. I think I've been better. I've been making more of an effort to show you I love you. Emily nodded, but her expression was mixed. You've definitely been more affectionate, and I appreciate that. But sometimes it still feels like you're doing it just because you think it's what I want, not because it's coming from you. I want it to feel real, Alex. Alex felt a little disappointed. I get it, he said quietly. I think I've been so focused on being affectionate that I haven't really thought about whether it feels genuine. I'll work on that. Emily reached over and touched his hand. I know you're trying, Alex, but it's about the feeling behind it, not just the action. For affection, Emily gave him a B. It wasn't bad, but Alex knew he could do better. When they got to teamwork, Alex was hopeful. He'd been doing the dishes more regularly, picking up after himself, and even remembering to take care of small tasks without being asked. He thought he had been showing more responsibility. Teamwork has definitely improved, Emily said with a smile. You've been more consistent with the chores and helping out. But there are still moments when you forget things, like picking up the dry cleaning or running errands. It's getting better, but I still feel like I'm the one reminding you. Alex nodded, feeling a bit deflated. I hate that I keep forgetting. I'll try harder to stay on top of things. Emily looked at him kindly. I know you will, but for teamwork, I'm giving you a B+. You're getting there. The last category was intimacy, the one that Alex had been dreading the most. He knew this was the area that still felt the most distant between them. Even though they had spent time together and done things like watch movies or go on walks, it still didn't feel like the deep connection they once had. How do you think we've done with intimacy this month? Emily asked. Alex took a deep breath. Honestly, I know we're still struggling here. I've been trying to be more open, but I feel like we're not quite there yet. Emily sighed, looking down for a moment before meeting his eyes. I agree. We've been better about spending time together. But I still feel like there's something missing. I need more emotional closeness, not just physical attention. We need to talk more about how we're really feeling, not just about the day-to-day stuff. Alex felt a wave of frustration, but he knew Emily was right. I'm sorry. I've been focusing on the wrong things. I thought if I showed you affection and did things for you, that would fix everything. But I realize now that we need to talk more, be more open with each other about what we want. Emily squeezed his hand. It's not about fixing it, Alex. It's about understanding each other and being vulnerable with each other. I think we've made progress, but we still have a long way to go. For intimacy, Emily gave him a C+. It wasn't a grade he wanted, but it wasn't a surprise. They both knew this was the area that needed the most work. As the review ended, Alex sat back and thought about everything Emily had said. He hadn't gotten the perfect grades he was hoping for, but he could see how far they'd come. Emily wasn't asking for perfection. She was asking for effort, for real connection. And even though it was hard, Alex was willing to keep trying. I'm not giving up, Alex said, meeting her gaze. I know we can do this. Emily smiled. I believe in us, too. The final review arrived sooner than Alex expected. It had been 3 months since Emily first introduced her performance evaluations, and while the idea still felt strange to him, he couldn't deny the changes in their relationship. Alex had worked hard to improve, and although it wasn't always easy, he could feel the difference in how he and Emily interacted. This time, Alex felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. The last 2 reviews had been difficult, but he could see his efforts paying off. He'd become more mindful of his actions, listened better, and tried to be more affectionate in ways that felt genuine. He wasn't perfect, but he felt like they were closer than they had been in a long time. Emily sat across from him, the clipboard in hand, but this time she didn't look as serious. There was a warmth in her eyes, a softness that hadn't been there before. Alex wasn't sure if it was a good sign, or she was just being kind, but he was ready to hear what she had to say. So, are you ready for your final review? Emily asked, her voice calm but with a hint of playfulness. Alex nodded, trying to hide his nerves. I think so. All right, she said, flipping through the pages. Let's start with communication. How do you think you've done? Alex thought for a moment. He had made a real effort to be present, to listen when Emily talked, and to avoid distractions. He had even started asking more meaningful questions, wanting to know how she was really feeling. I think it's improved a lot, he said. I've been more focused on listening and connecting with you. Emily smiled. I can definitely tell. You've been more engaged, and I feel like you really hear me now. For communication, I'm giving you an A. Alex's heart lifted. He had never expected to get an A in this category, but hearing Emily say it felt amazing. He couldn't help but smile. Next, they moved on to affection. I've tried to make my affection more genuine this month, Alex said, feeling proud. Not just doing things because I think it's expected, but because I truly want to show you that I care. Emily nodded thoughtfully. I've noticed that your affection feels more real now. It's not forced, and it's more about the connection. I think you've really worked on this. For affection, I'm giving you an A as well. Alex's chest swelled with pride. It felt like all his hard work was finally paying off. For teamwork, Emily was equally pleased. You've been much more consistent with the chores and responsibilities, and I don't have to remind you as much anymore. I can tell you're really trying to share the load. For teamwork, I'm giving you an A-. Alex couldn't believe it. After the struggles from the first review, this felt like a huge win. He was finally getting the recognition he had worked so hard for. When they came to intimacy, Alex took a deep breath. This had always been the toughest area for them. While they had improved in other ways, emotional and physical intimacy still felt like a work in progress. I know we still have work to do here, Alex said honestly, but I've tried to be more open with you, and I've really been trying to connect on a deeper level. Emily looked at him with understanding. I can see that. You've been more open, and we've had more meaningful conversations. It's not perfect, but it's so much better than it was before. I'm giving you a B+ for intimacy. Alex nodded, relieved. He knew intimacy would take time, but hearing that they were improving meant a lot to him. I'll keep working on it, he promised. As Emily finished the final review, she put down the clipboard and looked at him with a soft smile. Alex, I'm really proud of how far we've come. This wasn't just about grading you. It was about making sure we were both happy and growing together. And I think we've done that. Alex reached for her hand, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. Thank you, Emily. I've learned so much through this process. I didn't always get it right, but I'm glad we went through it together. Emily squeezed his hand. Me too. We're a team, Alex, and we're getting stronger every day. As they sat there, hand in hand, Alex realized something important. This wasn't just about grades or performance. It was about the effort, the willingness to listen, grow, and change. He had made mistakes, but he had also learned. And now, he could see a future where they continue to build their love, step by step. As Alex sat back, reflecting on the past few months, he realized how much he had learned. The performance reviews had felt strange and uncomfortable at first, but they had opened his eyes to things he had never considered before. Emily wasn't just asking him to check off boxes. She was asking him to be present, to grow, and to become a better partner. Through the highs and lows of each evaluation, Alex had come to understand that relationships weren't about perfection. They were about effort, communication, and connection. Every small step he took to improve, whether it was being more affectionate, listening more intently, or doing his share of the chores, had brought him closer to Emily. And while he hadn't gotten everything right, he could see how far they had come together. The reviews had also helped him realize something important. It wasn't just about meeting Emily's expectations, but about meeting each other halfway. Love wasn't a destination. It was a journey, one where both partners had to be willing to learn, adjust, and sometimes make mistakes. What mattered most was a commitment to keep trying, no matter how difficult things got. Now, Alex felt more confident in his role as a husband. He knew there would be more challenges ahead, but he also knew they would face them together. The performance reviews had shown him that love required work, but the reward, growing together and becoming a stronger team, was worth every effort.